everybody. Welcome back to Spruverse, my scale model universe, people of Earth. Welcome to part 3, the finale of Build the Kraken 2 from the motion picture InnerSpace, directed by Joe Dante, produced by Steven Spielberg, and listed as a comedy. I guess originally was going to be produced as a drama, and that was a drama in and of itself. So they brought in a bunch of writers to turn it into a comedy, and a comedy it became. Now, interestingly enough, Spielberg wasn't brought in until much later in the process to produce this, which I think was probably a demand of the studio to get this made. But nevertheless, not it's interesting. I've watched the movie several times now to sort of get as much of an eyeball on Kraken 2 as I possibly could. The film is okay. It's not great. It's dated. The concept of trying to sort of modernize or update Fantastic Voyage was noble. But, again, you've got to find a writer who embraces the world and is interested in the concept. I cannot tell you in my career how many times I had writers, talented writers, good people, but they just weren't passionate about fantasy or sci-fi. They just weren't. They wanted to write it, but they just weren't passionate about it. So, physics matters, details matter, engineering matters, and a lot of that gets washed over by writers who will just write, sparks fly and the machine miniaturizes. It's like, no. What is the practical reality of how that might happen? Talk to some futurists. Talk to some MIT folk. Get some people on your side who can make what you're doing credible, so that once it's credible, you can make it incredible. However, now that I've bashed the film, I'm sorry. I don't mean to do that. That's not the intention. But the Kraken is an awesome submersible, and it's fun. It's unique. There's nothing else like it in the marketplace. So to have something like this in my collection and to have it in your collection is pretty cool. It's a great piece of nostalgia. Okay, I have when last we met, I was doing an awful lot of working on lighting. And it set me back quite a bit. Also, I was printing the base. Now, I'm recording this part 2 days later. Now, I've got about a half day left on the base, if you can believe it. It's been printing for 2 days. Now, a lot of you out there who have printers might be going, Phil, you're not on speed mode. You shouldn't have to wait that long to print. And I say nay, because I have found in speed mode that if you are not technically averse on changing some of the parameters for how the build plate rises and falls, how much exposure time, ladder, which I am not. I mean, to say I'm a novice is like insulting the novices when it comes to 3D printing. I love the simplicity of it. I can slice things on Chi2 Box. I know how to get those files printed. And I have a system now where I'm printing really pretty good. Knock on wood. So I'm not going to start messing with things because that's just not how my head works, and I'm just not into it. So anybody out there who wants to start sending me lists of menus on how to speed up my printing, don't bother. Please, I beg you, don't bother, because it'll go in one ear and out the other, I promise you. Okay. We are getting dangerously close to starting to add details to this. As you may or may not recall, I was struggling with where these cones and the cables out of them goes. Now, of course, I was sharing this photo and saying, I can't see. Well, actually, when you zoom in enough, and I did, and I looked at some of the other research material, I realized these lines are supposed to be hydraulic. They go into the manipulator arms. that's where they go. They die into the top of the manipulator arm. And curiously, there's 4 on each side, 2 and 2. So that's what I'm going to be doing. I'm going to be attaching mine to my arms. Now, I was short a couple. You know, when you go to print this thing, I mean, it's awesome, and it's taking nothing away. You know, if you want to be in the world of 3D printing models, I've got friends and associates that I hang out with on video chats and stuff like that, who are awesome. There's a guy that I know from our video chats who lives in New York, printing all the time, and you know, shows us massive pieces of 3D printed material on his printer that has come out of his printer. You know, I that just hurts my head. I don't know how he does it, and I have 2 printers. Now, I have to say, this, wait till you see this base. It's pretty awesome. This is from 3D Fig Lab, and it's been specifically and uniquely designed just for me for this. But I'm pretty sure that if you decide to pick up these STL files from Christoph over at Golden Armor, I'm pretty sure that you can go over to 3D Fig Lab and they will be more than happy to sell you a base. And don't forget, till the end of January, if you let them know by email, Spruverse, all caps, if you tell them, Spruverse, I want my discount, you will get 10% off of all the files you buy. They're very reasonable to begin with, but Spruverse, all caps, that's your key to getting a discount. Okay? Don't forget, and don't share it with everyone. I'm teasing. Share it with everybody, please. Get the world going over the 3D Fig Lab. You'll be glad you did. Okay, so details. A couple of things. The winch was a little underwhelming. So what I've done here is I have added a little bit of wire to the end here to make it appear as though my cable is wrapped around here and coming out. I've changed the color of it, so it's sort of a dark copper, but I think that's a nice detail. And it belongs on the front here, and I know from looking at my destructions, as we say, that it's going to go right there. There's where it goes. So while you're all hanging out and we have nothing better to do, I'm going to install this. Why not? So there it goes. That is on. Just give that a second just to bite. And it did. And I'll just knock that with just a little bit of kicker, just to make sure that that ain't going anywhere. And then I've got this what appears to be like cutters of some kind. I don't know, they appear to be pincers of some kind, but what does it say they actually are? Hang on, let me see if I can tell you. No, I'll figure it out. I'll let you know what it is. But anyway, it goes hereth like this, like that. So let's get that installed. And I know ad nauseum I keep saying this, but I do think it's important because I've gone to a lot of trouble to do it, and that is to keep changing up the colors of my pieces. You know, bare metal silver, silver leaf, all kinds of stuff. Just keep changing it up so that we get some nice contrast. And I've got one more piece that needs to go on here. Now, it's this little canister here. Just this little canister. By the way, we'll talk about this in a minute, the yoke, because that's been installed, but I haven't nailed down the floor yet, and I'll talk about that in a second. Lots going on. Lots going on in this video. But I promise you, you don't have to take notes, because it's all recorded for you. But we will continue. You can see there's a lot going on. There's a lot of detail. But anyway, okay. So this little canister is now going to go next to. It goes here. Now it's got a. It's got a what I call a nozzle on it, which will take a hose. So I'm going to put a hose on it. Where that hose goes, only nobody knows. So, but we will figure out where it's supposed to go in just a second. We will invent a space for it if we can't find a photo of it that makes sense. I'll put it somewhere, and we just won't tell anybody other than ourselves. Okay, so those three items are on. The winch, these cutters of some kind, and this little canister here. So that is everything that belongs on top. Now, I have got a basket that has to go on here. And I'm not going to put that on just yet because I want to go back to my interior. So this floor, which we've talked about before, ingeniously, this floor has a wonderful channel already printed into it. So you can run your wires along the channels and not worry about anything getting pinched. So that is a good thing. I'm going to not tie anything down back there for a bunch of reasons. Primarily because when you're working with magnet wires, especially from the Evans group, I have found that you got to be careful about how you tack things down. Now, I've seen guys that just go at it with Instacure and hit it with some kicker and you're good to go. If you do it quick enough, you're fine, and it does work. So I don't want to suggest it doesn't, because it does. But I found the less you do to mess with those magnet wires, the better off you are in terms of preserving their integrity. Okay, so my yoke is in. I've tested it, and all my lights go green. And I can show you that now. Because we are at a point now where everything is sort of starting to come together, and that's a good thing. Okay, so let me get you close up here, and let me turn this to camera. There they are. Look at that bad boy, nice and bright, and nice and punchy. So that's going to, in the dark cockpit, that's really going to stand out. So I'm could not be happier with the result there, and that's just fiber optics that I put into existing holes in the print. Absolutely amazing. So that's one of the lovely things about, again, when you are getting STL files from people who build models, and Christoph builds models, beautiful models. He's a super talented guy. He thinks like a model maker, and so Oh, you want to wire this? Well, let's print access channels. Let's make sure it's accessible. Let's have a place for your wiring. This is where you can dump your wire. Really wonderful, because a lot of these kits, as we know, especially on the commercial side, you know, when you're dealing with styrene, there's not a lot of places to hide wire. There certainly is when you buy a kit like from Randy Cooper. He thinks about those things, and he makes sure that there's a way for you to wire stuff, because he does it first to make sure it can work, you know, and before he sells it to you, and I do appreciate that. Okay, so the yoke is in now. Mr. Quaid has the joysticks already connected to his hands. So, you know, in the fantasy world, when we put this seat down here on the base, I'm supposed to be able to light him up so that his hands fit. Now, I haven't done that yet, but I will. And I promise you that I'm not going to put it on camera because when it doesn't work, I got to figure it out. Now, if I'm brave enough, I will. But basically, I think what I'm going to have to do is get some. Well, I haven't tested it yet, so I'm projecting my tragic result here from the Mediocre Modelers Club. But if there is an issue with it, as long as it's not, you know, ridiculous, I'm going to be able to use some epoxy putty and mold those in. But we'll check that in just a second. We talked about our hydraulic lines. They're going to go in these cones here. And what I've got is I've got these breadboard wires. They're really good. I've chosen 2 black and 2 gray, and I'm going to alternate them. The pin side is going to be perfect. I'll trim these. I'll get these a lot more trimmed, and they will die into. They'll look great, and they will die into the manipulator arm, and then the business side, I'm just going to trim, and that side will die in. Well, there's the front, so you know, I just have to. Actually, that's just about perfect. So yeah, let me just trim that off. I can cut that off because I'm going to cut it all the way at the top here, so that you can see that will die into there like that, and that's perfect, and that's going to work really well. So I'm really happy with that. That's a good result, and I can actually at some point glue those in. I'm not going to do it right now because I think I'm ready to actually glue this down. And before I do that, though, what I'm not sure about is how these control surfaces go in. And whether or not they need to die into the floor, because I'm noticing that there are channels in the floor here, and they may well be for my computer systems. So here is here's the chair, which sits in there like that. And it's sort of lined up okay. Okay, you're going to make a liar of me. I'm going to do it. I'm going to sit him in the chair, and you're all going to laugh at me together, okay? On the count of 3. No, I'm teasing. Let's just see. Let's see where we end up here. I don't know. Don't know. Could get lucky, could not. Okay, let's see here. Boom, boom, boom. Okay, he's in. Not terrible, actually. Not terrible. Not terrible. Let me have a look before you have a look, and we'll see where we are. So I'm off. I'm definitely off, and only on one side, curiously enough. One side is fine and the other side is not fine. So I've got a little bit of tweaking to do here. But okay, he's on his pedals. He's on his pedals. And let me share with you the what I'm dealing with, because it's not terrible. It's not terrible. Okay, so as you can see, because you all made liars out of me and guilted me into this, this side is fine. This side is off. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to trim this. I have to trim this, get my and I will realign this, and I'll figure out how I'm going to do that. But that's what I have to do. I might even have to snap this off, and now that I know I can in fact glue it to the other end and reverse engineer how this goes into there. But not terrible, not terrible at all. And you know, I'm pretty happy with it. Here's the overhead look. He's looking pretty good in there. Now, I did notice, curiously enough, that the chair is not situated correctly. It is now. So, and he can move a little bit in the chair. So that, yeah, that's pretty good. Okay, that's pretty good. So, let me see here. Well, let's go back. So you can see I've got to just trim this, just align it, trim it, and then join it, and we should be fine. Not the end of the world. And here we're looking pretty good here, but I'll still get a little epoxy putty in there just to kind of make that all perfect. So we'll do that, and he'll be locked in. But I'm pretty happy with that. I think that is a result. And he looks quite good in his chair. You know. Okay. So that's good to know. Oh, I've got I've got my there. There. Now it's all starting to look like a cockpit, isn't it? That's pretty darn good. And things are going to change even more, of course, once you get all the other components in and around him. Okay, so I'm not putting that in just yet because I need room to move. But I'm going to leave him there for a second. And I'm going to bring over some sidewalls. And let's see how well we do. Okay, so this is sidewall number 1. That dropped in like an absolute charm. And I'm looking, and I've got perfect chase holes in the back for my wire, so I don't have to worry about that. And those are actually pegs. Floor pegs. They're not for chase wire. So look how beautifully that all drops in. Absolutely perfect. That is really good. Really, really good. So I'm happy with that. He's looking really good in there. Okay. So I am going to continue to just drop in my control panels, and I'm going to get those wired up, or dropped in, I should say, and then we'll see where we are. But there's no reason why I can't start continuing with the install now that I know everything is perfect. But again, that cannot happen until I've worked on the yoke. and dropped him in. But now I know I can do it. That makes all the sense in the world. I mean, they're just a breeze. They drop in like a breeze. Really fun. Really fun when you don't have to fight with the elements. Really fun. Okay. And I've noticed I've got a little bit of, I need to get some wash on my microphone. I'll show you. I installed my microphone and I forgot. I've got I've got to get just put a little bit of wash on that just to punch it up. Because now I know that I can open up my hatch and you can look down inside. We'll see a little more than just through the windows. So that's pretty cool. Pretty cool. Okay, so let me get all this together. Let me clean up that yoke, and I'll show you what the result of that looks like once that's all installed. I've got some hoses I want to put on the this oxygen tank on the back here. I want to get a hose on the back there, so I will work on that. I've got some stuff. The more hosage, the more important it looks. And once everything is down and all the lights are on, hey, someone might be home. Okay, so I'm gonna continue working on this, and we'll come back and we'll take a look at it after I've got all that together. Cockpit interior continues to go. Working on the screen, the screens now. The yolks went in okay. I used a little epoxy putty, cleaned those up, looking pretty good. So that's what it looks like now. So that's good. And I'm in position now to do a little more install. Now, so what I've got to do is I've got to get this computer back to the rear here, and you'll notice that I've got this pre-printed chaseway for the computer. The pegs are here, so all I need to do is give myself a little glue, which I will do. Like that. And then carefully line up those pegs and drop that computer in. And she's in. So I'm just going to hold that down for a little, just for a beat or two. I put a little bit of grime on the on what is some kind of a transformer cover, I think. So I've done that. There she blows. Looking quite good, I would say. And then I'll turn it around to the business side so that we can see that these wires drop beautifully into the back. Now I've got to make some decisions here in terms of what I'm doing with these lights, because everything else is just straight light. So do I have flashes? Do I have things flashing? And I certainly can. I've got my Tenor Controls piece. So I'm going to, but these screens, they're just the screens there. They just come on. There. So there you go. I'll tip it so you can see the screens for now. But it was funny too, because in a previous segment a while back, I mentioned that I didn't know what these two these pieces were here, and somebody thought that they were foot pedals. These handlebars, they're not foot pedals. They're not foot pedals. They belong up there. That's where they are on the production model. So that's where they went. Okay. Before I put this side on, which is going to make it a little more difficult for me to get to my oxygen bottle. I'd like to get a hose off of a hose running there. Looking to see here what I should use for hosage. I've got these wonderful wires. Oh, I do need to give him a headset too. So let's make his headset while we're here, before I forget, because I will forget that it needs to go there, then it needs to wrap over his head, and it needs to touch that. Perfect. So let me just tweak that. Such. Oh, don't want to lose that. Okay. Let me see. Ooh, that's perfect. Okay. Let me get that attached to his head. Just a little bit of just a little, almost an impossible to see there. Oh. Okay. Okay, let me there. Let me just add a little bit of kicker there so I don't go anywhere. And I'm gonna just bring that over with a little dab. So I'll put on the end of this toothpick, like such and such, like that. And then I will hold that in place for just a sec. There she goes. And then for the microphone right here, I'm just going to twist that. Like that. And then what we'll do, and I think I might have a little still wet on here. I don't know. Let's see if I do. I can see here. I can add a little. Yeah, I've still got some silver. So there we go. I can. There we go. One mic. And I think I'm gonna just add a little bit to the side there just to give it its due. His headset is on. The console is in. So now I've got this console, which I think should have, yes, it has the same chase wires here. So let me just make sure that that is sitting nicely, and it is. And again, perfect perfect chase wire there for me. You know, chase way I should say. So that is awesome. And there she blows. She is in. Look at that. How is that? Now I think I'm gonna touch up the gray here. Now you won't see any of it, but I'm going to paint it all black just in case I've got some light leaks or anything, but I don't think I have. So that's good. These don't need to be 20 miles long, so I can cut those now. Okay. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, I've got some hose here, although I think that might be too much. I do like this stuff. Let's see, where is, well, it's interesting because I think the top of this hose is right there, and that will fit with something that I can shrink over that. So that would go there, and then this would go inside that, like that, and then we would, let's take a quick look and make sure that that looks okay from a scale perspective. Just want to have a look at that. No, that looks pretty good. That looks pretty good, but it's a little too hefty, a little too heavy-handed. Now you could argue that you're never going to see anything, but I wonder if that going into the floor is not a good idea, and I think it is. I think it is. Now we could have it a different color. We certainly could. Certainly could. I mean, if we're going to go, with something, why not add a little spice to it? Let's see what this looks like. This could be too much. Don't know. But I'm desperate for color in this kit. I like it. I like it. Okay. Let's okay. Let me do that. Add a little drop to the top there. Drop to me top. And okay. I think that's going to work out well. And then what I can do is I can drop this hose. It can just sort of disappear down the back. Can sort of just disappear down the back here somewhere. sort of like, I like that. Let me get a little glue there. And just have it dye there. I love doing things on camera. When I'm not doing things on camera, it all sticks instantly. When you want to do something on camera, nah, that's not happening. It's fine. Okay, so that's good. I've got an oxygen bottle in there, and I'm happy with that. I've got all of my wires here that I'm going to sort of quietly on my own go through and just test everything, because that's going to take me an hour, I think. But I wanted to do some build-up on camera so that we just don't go, look at me. I've got glass gluing into the top, and I've got all of the top that has to go in, the outside engines. I've got the manipulator arms. I've got, it's got a ton of stuff to do here. So I'm going to take a quick break here and test all my wires and make sure everything is as I want it. I do have one other wire that's going to have to come in through the roof, which means the roof has to come in, and then I have to wire that up before I drop it and close it. So there's still that to do. But boy, she's really coming along here. I'm really getting excited about this. Here she is. I'll tip him to camera, and let's look overhead. So there's one side, and there's the other side. He's holding his yoke. His feet are on their pedals. The oxygen tank is in. So there you go. Progress. Okay, so I'm going to test all my wires, get my glass in, and we'll drop the dome on and just make sure everything looks good. And then we'll concentrate on the outside. Hopefully by the time we get to that bit, it'll be in the next segment for you. For me, it's going to be about another 10 hours before I'm ready to show you the base. But it'll all get done in this finale, I promise you. Very exciting. So stick around. So I'm just sort of jumping in here and trying to memorialize what I'm doing, but also not get so far ahead that you can't see what I'm doing. I'm making some great progress. I have, interestingly enough, I made a few adjustments to this rear wall. I had to take some gack out because my top wasn't sitting flush over it, because there's zero tolerance in the corners here. I thought I was just on the inside of the wall, but I was like off by just a hair, and it mattered. So, but it doesn't matter to this, because now that everything is in here and we can actually see what's going on, you realize how much sadly gets lost by the Quaid figure and his seat. But still, there's plenty going on. I've been working on the front here. I've got these elements to install. There's two of these, and if we take a look at the at this, which is something that is supplied to us by Christoph over at Golden Armor, when you pick up this incredible kit, you can see what we're working on. So those are their front. Looks like they're front front thrusters. Why can't I say front thrusters? Wow, so sad. All right, but let's take a look at where they get installed, and you can see what I'm working on here. I've been putting in some of the pipes, and that's been a lot of fun, and just detailing those out. I've got the thrusters here, and there's only one way they can go, so that's a good thing. And we want them to be pointing out, not in, so that's where that goes. So we can actually put a little, of course, here I go again on camera, and you know, everything starts to fall apart. So sad. Okay, so I can do a little bit of gluage here, and I can install this up in here like that. And then I'm going to let this set. I'm going to do the other side, and we're going to talk about this manipulator arm and the hydraulic cables that I've just installed. Now, let me just do the other side while we're here. And what I realized was that, you know, there's a lot of pipage that you have to add yourself, which is fine, but you know, it's one of those things that if you are going to decide to do this kit, you want to make sure you've got some nice options on hand for hoses. I've used a lot of different stuff that I had in my stash, but you don't realize, you know, you want to mix it up a little bit. You don't want everything to look the same. So I'm making a decision on what things are going to be wire, what things are going to be my shrink tubing, and what things are going to actually be my lead wire, which is great stuff. It's solder really, and but it's fantastic for pipes. It bends beautifully, and I've got it in various different sizes, and that's what I've used here on the winch, hydraulics, and this manipulator arm at the top here. Now, what I want to show you right now is I want to show you this this arm. We'll turn this to camera. Boy, I'm just knocking all the paint over on my desk like bowling pins because I haven't had a chance to put paint away. But you know, I find when I'm doing a model, I leave it all on the bench because you never know when you want to touch it up again, and I don't want to forget which colors I used. Okay, so what I've done is and you can see I've got this on a piece of copper tubing, a pin that I've put in, and I've done that deliberately because I want to be able to continue to allow this to move a little bit. The hydraulics here that I've installed, I've used the breadboard pins that we talked about earlier. I've used those, and they went on really well. And then what I've used is a little bit of this my aluminum tape. You know, it's the stuff that you use on ducting. And what I've done is where it joins, I've just simply done a little bit wrap here to give it some nice detail. But obviously none of this has been aged down yet appropriately, so I'm going to put a little bit of gunk on everything just to kind of give it that oomph. But super happy with the way this is looking. I'll tip that to camera, and you can see that came together really well. So I've got to do the other side, but I'm waiting for my manipulator arms to continue to print. I was short 2. The other thing I've done, which I'm really happy with, is this is my power in for everything. and I've fished it through on some of my shrink wrap, and I've made this little plug here. And these plugs come from Evans Design. I'm sure there's other places you can pick them up, but this is the plug that I'm using. And what I'm planning to do is I'm not going to permanently attach this to my base. So I've got my other power pin here, and that simply connects like that, and then this end will go to the business end to my my DC transformer. I'm going to use a 9-volt transformer, and that'll have plenty of punch. But what I like about this is it really lays down nicely, and it looks like, you know, it looks really good. So there's no excuse. You don't have to hide anything, but you can just lift it off. I mean, it's so heavy, it's not going anywhere anyway. The only other thing that I haven't done is, because I'm still printing the base. The reason why is because what I didn't realize was, well, we both, myself and the team over at 3D Fig Labs, we were operating on the wrong scale, so it was a miscue on my part. So now I'm having to reprint them, but larger, which is perfect. So there are 4 quadrants that will go down, and that will form the base. And then there is the sort of the half of the cone. If you remember, it's like a clamshell. It came together in the film, sealing this inside that, and then centrifugal force started spinning it and spinning it and spinning it, and then it just sort of shrunk and miraculously drops into a syringe that is waiting, and you're ready to go. So that's what I'm doing. But I've got lots of details here. I've got my rear. I've got my rear tray, or I guess you would call it a catcher or a tray, and I've got one in the front too. This one is, I'm not sure whether the manipulator arms go up and around it. I haven't looked yet, but I will. I'll take a quick look and we'll figure out where they go. So I've got my right side manipulator arm and my hydraulic cables that have to go in, so I'm waiting on that. And then I've got my rears to go in, and then all that's left is the shell itself and everything that goes on top of the shell. And once I have done that, this puppy is finished, and I can go around and start looking at final details in terms of washes and things like that. But I think you'll agree that it's really coming together, and I just couldn't be happier with it. I mean, it's really coming together. It's a fun build. It really is. It's a real fun build. So I'm continuing to sort of push along here. I've got all my wires ready to go in the back. I've not connected anything yet because I'm waiting for my roof to connect everything up. But I don't want to do that just yet. But because I'm still working on some details, and I just want to make sure before I put the lid on that I'm where I want to be. Now, the nice thing about it is I've decided that I'm not gluing in permanently this back wall, and I'm not going to glue in the clamshell top. There's no reason to. And that just simply means if I have any issues in the future, this is a real easy kit to remove and work on the wiring. So there's no risk of something shorting. Now a bulb can go, and that's a whole nother conversation, but any risk of a short is just not going to happen with this kit. So I'm really happy with how it's all going together. And once I have the top on and I look around, we can do final weathering and figure out what needs to go. What needs to be maybe some pastels, some Tamiya weathering pastels, maybe a little grease and stuff like that on the hydraulics. Don't know, but boy, are we close. And so what I thought I would do is when I am ready to install the top. I will attach all of that, but we'll come back and we'll apply some of the finish engines and that sort of thing. We'll do that on camera so that we can really officially say that we followed this build, I think, with quite a lot of detail. Okay, so next segment, we're going to finish the manipulator arms and install the roof, and maybe even do some test lighting and see where we are. Final lighting test has been done. Everything is on, and I've connected the roof of the sub to its to the umbilical cord here in the back. Let me show you that. Let me clear that. You can see there's all the wiring harnesses here. Plenty of room in the back there. So I mean, if you wanted to go crazy with a couple of boards or some switches or whatever you wanted to do, the beauty of this file is I mean, it's fantastic. I mean, there's all kinds of room back there. So that's very good. Never a big fan of long umbilical cords, but you know, we'll be fine. We'll be fine. Let's see here. There we go. Something snapped. I hit something. Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. How frustrating. You know, that's one of the frustrations of being clumsy. It's okay, I'll deal with that in just a second. You know, big hands, not paying attention. I do it all the time. I knock something that I shouldn't knock. Okay, just making sure that this is seated correctly. It's this wall here. Now I have not glued anything down. Don't really want to. I certainly could, but I don't really want to. I think it's fine. I think it's fine. Okay. Everything looks good. Everything looks really good. Okay, so I'm super happy with that. Let's so with the roof on, I mean, yeah, you've got this little gap here, but by the time I get the rest of my pieces, and I'll show you what I mean. There's a huge piece here that drops on. Well, of course it's. I don't think it's. Oh, yes, it is. Is it that piece? No, it's not that piece. Hang on. It's the other side. It's this piece, I think. Yeah, I think it's this piece. Well, no, it's actually this piece. That's interesting. So, oh, I see. No, I don't see. I don't see. All right, I'm gonna work. I'm gonna read the instructions and work it out. Okay, so everything is on and looking pretty good. I've got just a little bit. I'm feeling like I've got a little bit of resistance here, and I'm gonna. What I may do is just drop just the tiniest amount of glue under here, just to keep that from rocking. It may well be, and I suspect it is that my print may not be perfect along the bottom. I mean, it's got curves and it blends beautifully into the top here, but it may be off by just a hair. But okay, I've got another arm to do, front and rear. I've got some cleanup to do here where I knocked my bloody hose off. So I'll do that, and then I think we'll come back and we'll finish detailing the back. Okay, cooking with gas here. I'm starting to bring over some of the final parts for final assembly. I'm going to install my hatch. There's no reason to leave this off any longer, so I'm going to do that now. And I'm in my time, I'm about 20 hours away from completing the print of the base. You know, it's one of those things where I don't have it on super fast mode, and I'm careful to make sure that it is correctly situated on the build plate and at the correct angle, because then you get a decent print. But obviously it just takes longer when it's sitting that way, but you run less of a risk of having a failed print. Now I know what you're saying, Phil, we don't care. Just show us the. I'm going to. So anyway, by the way, I've got the lights on in here, which is super exciting. I don't think there's anything for you to see yet, because it's just too bright in here. But trust me when I tell you, all the lights are on, and I'm really super thrilled with it. Now, it's not as crazy blinky as it could have been had I have used the Tenor Controls board. Oh, newsflash, I didn't use it. I may have forgotten to mention that in a previous segment. The reason why I didn't use that board is because it just seemed like a waste of the board. I didn't have the room or the inclination to isolate that many of the fiber optic wires, and I don't see any reason to. In the film, there's not a lot of blinking going on. All the lights are on, but there's not a lot of blinking. I've got this one light that is it's a green light, Evans design, a breather, and so you'll see enough of that. But anyway, I just could not be happier. Oh, by the way, this I put a little just a sort of a little pressure on this, and it went pop and dropped. So it's sealed. I do not have to glue it. I don't want to, for a myriad of reasons. This is one of those models that I really love, and if something goes wrong with the lighting, this way I can get in and clean some things up. I'm not stuck. A lot of my models that I seal them up. I don't know, it's just who I am. Or oftentimes it's just not practical to not seal them up. A perfect example would be that large 32 scale flying sub. You have to seal it up. You have to. Now you can leave hatches and doors open to peep in, and it's got nice windows, but you got to seal it up. Okay, so looking good, and we'll say goodbye to him for just a second. Close the lid, and that's really fun. It's fun that you can lift this up, and so for presentation I can leave this up. I'm really happy that I can do that. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to continue to install parts. I'm going to start with the back here, and I'm going to take a quick look at some reference photos because I've got some hosage that needs to go on this tank. this tank sits here, but I'm not sure whether it should be up or down. It feels to me like if it's up, it's a lot easier for me to get some hoses on. So that's what I'm going to take. I'm going to take a quick look here and see if I can't find a reference. And then I've got the 2 outer tanks to go on. And then I'm going to do a little more detail work in here just to make sure I'm super happy with it. So that is what we're doing. And I also wanted to mention that I figured out where everything goes, which may come as a complete shock to all of you. But so this piece, it drops in like this. That's how that's going to go. I'm not going to put it on just yet, but that's where that goes. And then on the opposite side, over here, this piece extends. It extends over. Let's see here. There. It extends over and sits like that. And that's how that piece goes. So I'm going to get ready to install those pieces in just a second. Just wanted to show you where they go. But first and foremost, I want to finish the rear. I want to get that all situated. And I'm looking at. I've been looking at some reference pictures over here. That a whole bunch of reference material comes with your files, and I'm just not seeing yet. Okay, I know that I've got engines that. Okay, here we go. Perfect. Yeah. Yep. Got it. Okay, so the actual tank valve goes up, not down. So it goes up like that. So we can install that. That's sort of fun. So I'm going to install it because there's no point in leaving this stuff on the bench anymore when it's all ready to be installed. There we go. Hold that for just a second there. And we've got a hose that's gonna. Oh, I just noticed that. Okay, we're gonna have to fix that. That's interesting. No problem. We've got a hose that needs to. Let's see here. There we go. Okay. Let me do this again. Only this time with a little more feeling. Right. There we go. Couldn't figure out why that wasn't sitting down properly. There we go. Tell me it doesn't pay to not do this on camera. This is like insane. Sometimes I think to myself, what am I doing? You know, I could be out here, I could be happy, just doing my thing, but no, you know, you got to turn cameras on, and you know, and I love my subscribers, don't get me wrong, but when I get a comment like, oh, you missed a spot. No, it's probably true. I probably did, and I do appreciate it. But you know, it's like, can you imagine you're quietly at home or wherever you do your hobby, and you're sitting there and you're working, and all of a sudden a whisper in your ear goes, "Oh, you missed a spot." Just think about that, and then feel sorry for me. Okay, so hosage. I have got some fun stuff here. What I think I'm going to use is I've got these little clear. They're Well, they're for my CA bottles of glue from my zip line. You know, they come with it. You can stick them in and supposedly get an accurate little bead of glue. Yeah, good luck with medium, right? For thin, yeah, I can see it, but medium viscosity, I don't know. I don't know what planet they were on. So that clear is one of my choices. Another choice is to go with a black hose, which I could do. But I don't love that. I've got some metal here, but that says electrical more than it does fluid. And then I've got this hose, which I do like, and that's pretty good, but I think it's too large a scale. And then I can go with my go-to, which is a good scale and a lot more flexible, or I could go with my my lead wire. I think I'm going to go with my clear. But what I've got to do is figure out where this goes. So what I want to do is let me get an engine. Oh yes, I said engine. And let me just get the right one. Here's the right one. It's the left one, but it's the right one. Let's put this on just to see where we are. Now I've got to trim this, obviously, because my pin is too long, but I knew that. Okay, so I've got to bring that down. So, but if it's down to there, let's say, oh, there's no clearance issues. And I've got additional hoses that I have to come off of. They come off of the tops of these engines here. I'll show you. This, you see, I've got to get some hosage into here. So I'm going to do that in just a second. This is going to go very, very quickly, guys, in terms of, you know, once everything is figured out. Okay, so I'm going to just figure out here what my flexibility is. And then where is that going, right? It's gonna die into, if it dies into the back here, then let me lift this up, make sure there's no issue with let's see here. No, there's no issue in terms of clearance, and it's interesting because it appears as though it dies directly into the back. So it's not going to go very far, and it's just going to die into the back. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to drill a little hole in there, and then just get that connected up like that. And I do like the clear. I think the clear is the right way to go. Okay, so I'm going to get the drill bit out. I'm going to carefully do this. But I'm thinking now, this might be a kind of gentler way to go, and a smarter way to go. Yeah. Thinking it might well be. Just trimming this off. Let me get this glued on. You know how much I love doing this on camera, but I'm going to do it on camera because, well, let's see here. sure that I don't go crazy here. Okay. Don't you love the silence? The silence. Oh, the silence, the silence. I can't help it. You know, my brain sometimes just goes, concentrate, idiot, concentrate. Yeah, no, this was a good call because I can get some flex out of that, and I think that will look quite good. I've got my trusty drill here with a micro bit in it, and I'm gonna, oh, you know what? Before I do that, let me get the tank on and just make sure that I'm not interfering with anything. Let's see here. I think that's the way that goes. I think they go up. Got this sort of protective shield. Yeah, I like that. I like that a lot. Okay, so I can make a mark. Just about, I think, just about there. I think that'll look good. Or actually, actually, you know what? I kind of like it there. Kind of like it there. Okay, let me put these aside for a second. Let me get out my trusty drill. Okay. And let me get some air on that. And see, I think that should be good. And then okay, that's perfect. So let me get a little dab of glue on that. Okay, it shouldn't take much, just to sort of get it in that hole. Okay, I like that. Very good. That looks good. Yeah, that looks good. So now what I can do is I can install this tank right here. So let me see the best way for you. I think you can probably see it. Okay, there. Okay. Okay. Here we go. Let's get that in. It's important to get these pieces in before you do your final sort of work. But if you are going to do some hoses, now there's curiously there's no hoses coming out of the tops of these tanks. They just have these sort of pin tops, but there's no hose. There is a couple of other opportunities for some wires, and I may avail myself of that just because it's looking a little empty there. So I'm gonna Gonna think about that, but I might drop I might drop a couple of hoses on there. Okay, let me get this one on. Okay. Boy, that little touch of color makes all the difference in the world to this model, because otherwise it's just a world of silvers, but that's okay. That's okay. It works. Come on. Come on, come on, come on. Where are you? Oh, that's silly. Okay, wow, that was silly. Literally, I couldn't figure out what I was doing. Okay. Okay, so those are both on. So the back's looking really good. I'm going to turn off my lights now, because they've been burning for a while. So I'm pretty happy with the fact that everything is looking good. And so this is what the back looks like. That's pretty cool. It's really starting to look like the Kraken. And it's the Kraken 2, by the way. I'm not sure why it's the Kraken 2, but I don't know if one made it. But it's the Kraken 2. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to trim these posts so we can install the engines, and then we can look at that. But before I do that, I've got two more of my manipulator arms, front and rear, that have to be installed, and I've got some hydraulic lines for the front manipulator arm that also have to be installed. Now I am going to do a little bit of grime coming out of the hydraulic fluid lines. Now my guru said to me, and the guru is the great Lou Del Maso. You know, he's my go-to, my mentor, and he said, easy on the weathering, because this is a new vehicle. So I'm going to heed that and not go crazy. But I have noticed, I mean, even on, you know, when I would hang out with Bob Ballard, who's a friend of mine, and check out the submersibles. Even brand new submersibles, you know, those hydraulic fluid lines, they when they're under pressure, you get a little grease around them. It's just a little bit of grime. It's subtle, but it's there. Okay, so I'm going to I'm going to trim these, then we'll come back and look at the install of those engines. The outside appliques have to go on, and then we'll see where we are. We're getting dangerously close to needing a base. Come on, Sonic Mega 8Ks, hurry up. Okay, let me trim those and then we'll carry on. Okay, I've managed to put the hydraulic fluid lines on the forward manipulators, so they're in, and I'll give you a quick look at that. So that's looking good, and I've got that done on both sides, and here's the other side, looking quite spiffy. Now I'm going to start continuing on around with the sort of the exterior elements here. So here we go. I'm going to install this tankage here, and here we go. Let me give this a little more oomph. Now, some of you might be saying, Phil, why aren't you using epoxy resin? Well, it's a fair question, but here's what I found is with this 3D resin, boy, does it love CA glow. I mean, really loves it. It bites really well, even on a painted surface. You can easily snap something off to replace it, repair it, or fix it. If it was epoxy resin, it's going to more than likely snap in a place where you don't want it to. And so that's why I avoid it. Unless it's a serious structural thing. I've done very well with the 3D prints, with my frozen gray resin. It's a little more expensive, but the quality of it is exceptional. Okay. Gonna just give this a little coaxing here. That should be fine. No. Okay. There you go. There she goes. I do have a little signage I'm going to put on the outside. It could be verboten. People were going blasphemy, but I don't care. It just needs a little bit of that detail, I feel like. So I've got these, I've got a couple of these pieces that I've pulled aside here. I've got a couple of these little lithium pack signs, and I've got a no step sign somewhere. Oh, wow, 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 wow. Phil. Okay, don't panic. They're here. I will find them. I will find them, and when I do, they're going on this model, whether you like it or not. Okay. The next thing I've got to do is I've got to put on the next piece up here. I think it's this piece, which is also a step. Let me just make, yeah, it is. So it's a step. So let's get that installed. I'm looking to see if there's a, let's see here. There we go. Backwards for me, but at least you can see what I'm doing. And this is sort of the way he gets up, and I've just noticed a little schmutz there I have to clean off here. 1 second. There. Okay. Okay, we'll get this on. Like that. There she goes. Okay, the last piece on this side will be this engine, and I'm not ready for those yet because I got to get some decisions made in terms of hosage. So we'll come over to the other side here and see. I know that this piece goes lovingly there, like that. So we can do that. We can install that piece. Okay. All right, there we go. Okay, so things are continuing. Things are continuing. I'm just going to speak to Mrs. Spruverse and we'll carry on. Sorry about that. But when the Chief Executive Officer of Spruverse requests your company, you jump. All good. Okay, we continue. I'm going to now install this hose. Like that, and I'm going to leave. I'm not going to glue the other side so that if this can just lift off, no problem. Okay, that's pretty good. That's pretty good. I could, if I wanted to, you know, but I don't need to. I don't think I need to. I could push that down. Wouldn't hurt. Wouldn't hurt. I mean, you know, just to give it a little something. Let's see here. Got a little bit of touch up I'm going to have to do there. But that's okay. Okay. All right. Interestingly enough, there's a little box. Got it right. Where's my little box? Here's my little box. Got this little box. Do you see? So this little box. Got to figure out where this little box goes. I don't have a place to put anything. I mean, this thing is completely junked up now. Very cool. Got to make sure I figure out where this goes. I'm gonna go over here and see if I can see where this goes. It's not that side. So let me see. Let me go to install. Let's see. Okay, here we go. No, I don't see. I'm not seeing where it goes. Now I know it belongs somewhere. Now those are the thruster arms. Aha! Don't you love death silence while my back's turned to you and I'm staring at a computer? This is what happens when you get into the world of building, you know, and you're not just showing and telling. But that's okay. I think this is pretty awesome that we're sort of hanging out and doing this together. Interestingly enough, this little, it has an indent, which indicates that it wants to live somewhere. But I don't see anywhere for it to live, and I know it's an exterior piece. Don't know. So we're going to set that aside for a second, and we will figure that out for sure. Okay, I think the next thing up is the engines. So let's see here. Let's get one. Let's get one. And of course, the one I need Well, I don't need it, but I'm working on it, and I forgot to I forgot to finish it. I've got to sand it. I had a few imperfections, as they say. So let us see what happens here. Now, oh, sorry, I slid off this baby little turntable, which is not a good thing. In fact, it's a bad thing, but yeah. Okay, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to take it off this turntable because I don't want to bust the lamps underneath. I'm going to move this away. I'm just too clever for my own good. That's the problem sometimes. Okay, that's really good. I mean, that is really solid and not going anywhere. So that looks pretty good, except it's on the wrong side. Okay. Off it comes. Off it comes. It's okay. It's got to go on this side because that's where your hosage is. Okay, there we go. I'm gonna think seriously about. Actually, I might have to trim that a little bit. Yeah, I'm gonna have to trim that a little bit. But there's my hose, and those hoses are gonna go over and they're gonna die into this platform somewhere. Now, here's what's interesting about all of this is I think in order to climb in, I think you have to do that. And then when he climbs in, he switches a button, and that's what happens. Because otherwise, if he's supposed to climb up, and these are his steps, he can't get in. He can't get in. But, boys, this is looking good, right? It's looking like the Kraken. I'll tell you, it weighs a ton. Okay. So I got to do a little trimmage here. I'm going to clean up the other engine because I forgot to do it. I got to do a little trimmage here because that's still a little too long. A little too proud, this pole, this little post. So I'm going to get that dealt with right now. And then we will connect the hoses together. I think that's what we'll do. We'll connect the hoses together because then all I got to do is put just a little bit of grime. I know, Lou. I know. No more than a little bit of grime, I promise you. He doesn't want me to start weathering the thing. He says, so I'm not going to. Okay. So anyway, let me clean up these engines. But it's good to know that we're down to the nitty gritty here, down to the last few bits and pieces, and this puppy is almost finished. And then we've got to put it on its base and see what it looks like. Holy cow. Okay, very exciting. And then I suppose we'll have to darken the room because I know you'll want to see it with the lights on. Fortunately, look, for the first time in my life I actually have a working hatch. How about that? So you can actually see inside and enjoy the cockpit. So I'm super happy with that. But still, lots of little cleanups and details to do. But I'm feeling like I see light at the end of this miniaturization tunnel. All right, stick around. You know, one of the things that I highly recommend you do if you're going to print these STL files or get them printed for yourself and you end up with a whole bunch of a pile of resin and all of these instructions is have a plan. Now, I'm saying that facetiously. I have a plan usually, but I guess I got caught up in just the sheer vastness of all of this. that things start to, little things can slip through the cracks. Like this little box I was talking about. Do you remember this? This little box? Well, I couldn't figure out where it went. Well, lo and behold, it goes here. Right here. So it slips on like that. Like that. So what I'm going to do is it actually just needs cleaning up a little bit. I must have handled it and got some schmutz on it, so I'm just going to clean it up. But now I know where it goes. I can put it on. How about that? Okay. What I'm working on now is these engines. The lower engines were a little too dark, so I've just hit them with a little bit of my Vallejo Silver Leaf, just to kind of bring them up a little bit. They were just too dark for me, so I'm waiting for those to dry. But while I was doing that, I thought I'd put this engine on. Now it's not been locked in place yet, because there is a school of thought that says that you don't do that, so that you can display them in various different ways for that. But that won't be me. But it was more for transportation, really, because it can come off and lower the profile of this model. It's a thought. But more importantly, it's where does the hoses go? So, in typical fashion, I'm just scouring through all of the instructions right now. I'll figure out where they go. I don't want to start drilling holes and putting hosage in here until I know just exactly where these hoses are going. I am liking this hose here, but I'm worried that I just like the way it curls. It's quite dramatic, but I'm not sure I have enough. We'll have to see. If not, I might go to my old standby, which is my breadboard pins. I'll cut them, obviously, and I've got one that's cut here just to show you what that looks like. They actually drop inside these little these little culverts on top, and they go quite well as well. And I think scale wise, they're probably a little more correct. And I have those, so I'll probably pull out the black ones and go for that, because I think that the gray, it gets lost with the gray. It's more dramatic with the black. Okay, so that's what I'm doing. Things are looking pretty good. I've got a little bit of schmutz on here. Don't know why that is. There we go. But yeah, check her out. She's looking pretty good. She's looking pretty good. So I mean, it's really quite something. It's quite unique. You have to admit that. And I have, believe it or not, a couple of pieces of the base have come out. So they're there, and I've got 2 more printing, and that'll allow me to have the base. And then there is the side of the cocoon. If you remember, the 2 clamshells went together, and then it was all of the stuff that was happening as it spun inside of that. Now, of course, if you are going to use the rear clamshell, which you should for display purposes, because it adds some drama to it. If you look at the production stills, there's a lot of gack on the outside of that. So I may talk to the guys about coming up with a little bit of gack for the outside of it, just so that, if it's whatever, you walk around it. I mean, especially if you're going to take this somewhere to display it or show it off, right? You don't want to go behind the camera and not see any of that. I just think you need to put a little gack there. You can go overboard, but I do think it's worth it. Okay, so let me carry on. I'm going to figure out where the hosage goes. We'll get everything on. And then we'll start looking at a little bit of weathering. I'm just going to do just a little bit, just a soupçon. But I see light at the end of this tunnel. I really do. Okay, let's plow on. Okay, I have found where these cables go. They actually just die into this ledge right here. So they're going to come out of the. Let me slide this over just a sec so you can see. So in essence, they're gonna come out of these little cone connectors, and it's going to die into the top here. And I have chosen to use the breadboard connectors because I think they're right. The only issue I have is I don't want to just drill a hole there and then have it just die into the surface of that, unless I can put a little bit of my chrome tape around it, or perhaps even find what I might do is see if I can find a little bit of hose or a little bit of tubing, I should say. I had something on my desk a little while ago, but now I don't seem to be able to find it. Something like this, perhaps, that I can connect the hose to, and then that just dies in. I think that just looks a little more. That looks a little more substantial. So what I would do in that case is I would just drill these in and have 4 of these or something like that. I'll see. I'll pull out. I know I've got something in my tube stash, and I think that'll look a lot cleaner. So we're going to do that. You'll see I have placed the engine, the top thruster and the side thruster on, and you can see that everything looks a lot better now. I've brightened this up. It was too dark, so I'm ready to install those. So I'm going to do that, and I'm ready to install my my top thrusters as well. I've got a little bit of a gap that I'm looking at right here, and it just doesn't want to close. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to leave it proud just a little bit to indicate that it can actually swivel, but I'm going to lock it in place. As much as that might make a few of you cringe, for me, again, these are works of art. They're not toys. I don't play with them. The only issue is transportation. I've now made it literally almost impossible to transport if I do that. If I leave these, but it would mean that I would have to really find a way to really make this lock in nicely, because it's got a little bit of sag. This is very, very heavy. Even though it could have been hollowed, I suppose I didn't do that. It's heavy, so it's sort of wanting to bend down, because obviously if I was able to remove these, it's just less of a problem. But that would be true of other elements on this as well. There's so much around the sides of this that could just snap off. It's literally where my head goes. I have no interest in gluing things back on and trying to paint them after it's been moved somewhere. The only thing I'm considering is driving. If I put these in a car and I drive, it's a 3-day drive for me, but maybe it's an adventure. Maybe that's what I'll do. I don't know. I've got a few months to think about it and talk about it and discuss it with some friends, and see what they say. But it would sure be nice to put it on display because I think it's relatively unique. Okay, so I am going to install my engines. I'm going to put in my posts and attach my cables. And then I think we'll look at just a little bit of weathering. Just a little bit, just a little bit, just a little bit. Don't worry, Lo, I promise you I won't ruin it. Although, I have to say, a couple of my subs were not wrong. Hey, what if this was the ship after it had come out of the human body? It would have all kinds of crap all over it. That's true. And, then everybody would say, well, is that how you really want to display this, as if it's come out of the human body? Because if you're going to do it like that, you probably should put it in some, I was thinking of getting some of those foam floaties and maybe making some blood vessels and having it stuck inside of there and figuring out, but then how do you mount it? Because there's an awful lot of stuff under here. I mean, it is literally, it's literally like if I tip this up, you can see how much is going on underneath. There's nowhere. I mean, you could definitely put it on some kind of a clear plastic kind of thing, or float it somehow, but it would have to be really, really strong, because this is as heavy as the DiAgostini Millennium Falcon. It's that heavy. I kid you not. I kid you not. I mean, without exaggeration. This weighs about 8 pounds, 9 pounds. Don't know what that is in kilos and don't care. Okay. We'll be back in just a sec. Okay, I've come up with what I think is an elegant solution for these cables. So what I've got is I've got this black hose that I really liked. But I didn't have enough of it to run from end to end, and I thought the scale of it was too big. But what I've got is I've got these a little piece of aluminum rod that I cut at about 3 mil, and what I've done is I've dropped those into the roof of this. And what I'm able to do is I'm able to cut a little piece of the hosing and drop it over that, and it creates a wonderful coupling. So that's what I'm doing, and I'm really liking that. So I'm sort of just squaring those up to the best as I can, just to make sure they're as square as I can make them. And then, just to keep them all the same size, I do the old thumbnail measurement. We're super accurate around here. And then, what I can do is I can drop that over here, like that. And then my hose will drop into it like this, like that. And I think it's a really nice, elegant solution. So that's what I'm doing with that. So I've got 4 of those I'm going to cut and make sure that they're all the same. I'm not going to leave you to watch me do this on camera, because I'm going to have to measure them, make sure they're exactly as they should be, and then I'm going to trim them. And it's. I know a lot of you are saying, Phil, we don't care. Shut up and just keep building. All right, well, how about this? I will. So how about that? I will. I'll just keep building. And, don't blame me if people are going, hey, fast forwarded through that crap. Didn't need to hear that. Didn't need to watch that. I'm terrible, aren't I? I have to stop my negativity. I apologize. I don't mean to be. I'm not trying to be. What I'm trying to be is, as typical producer me, is as, is it worth watching? Is it something that would entertain you? But most of you guys go Phil, don't worry, just keep building, you're doing fine. So I have to remind myself sometimes that all of you are just so generous to me, not only with your time, but also with your comments. So I'm going to honor that and keep building. Okay, I think that's all for it. Oh, we can do a better job of cleaning that one up. That was not very nice. That's better. Okay, so that's pretty good. I like that. So I can add just a little drop of glue to those. And put those back like that. And that one doesn't want to come up, period. How about that? Nor does that one. No, nor does that one. So they must have glued themselves, because I never did. I don't know. Sometimes I don't question the universe. I just go with it. Just go with it. Okay. It's sort of odd. Doesn't want to up down. That's fine. Let's see, just make sure we're not too long. I don't think we're too long. I don't think we are. So let's put this one in. And like that. And then let's just... Oh. Okay, let me do this. So I'm all more fingers and thumbs. So let me get my trusty glue loop. Let's get a little glue on that, and then I can just pick this up. Well, that's all fingers and thumbs. There we go. Voila. I like that. That looks pretty good. Let's take a look at that. That's working. It's working quite well. There we go. Now I've got some touch-ups to do and some cleaning up to do, but you know, that's all par for it, but that's pretty good. So I've got 3 more of those to do, which I shall do now. And guess what? All that remains then is to put in these the lower thrusters. And we'll have a Kraken 2. A Kraken 2. And we'll have a Kraken 2. You're just in time. Any later you would have missed this. The last piece. The last side engine going on. and then I have a Kraken. And then what we'll do is we just go around, and I'm going to put a little grunge on the hydraulic fluid lines because they would have some, and maybe a little dust here and there. I'm not sure with some pastels, but here we go. Here we go. I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna do this, and I'm gonna put her on. They're on. Look at that. Look at that. One Kraken, no waiting. Holy cow, guys. I cannot believe this. We have a Kraken. And she's a cracker. McCracken. Great fun. Great fun. So, what I'm going to do now is just pull out the pastels and play with this a little bit. No snickering at the back of the room, please. I'm playing with this. Thank you. Clean up a little bit, and then, well, I'm looking, and for you, it's going to be the next segment. For me, it's I got another 24 hours before the last two pieces of my base are printed. But wow, I'm just gonna sort of sit here and enjoy this for just a second, because I'm really proud of it. I'm really proud of it, and I we'll be able to look inside and see what's going on down there once we light everything up. So she'll be good to go, and that'll be great. And then we'll take some last looks at this. I'll get it all cleaned up, and we'll get the lights down and put the lights on, and we'll really take a look at it. Very exciting, very exciting. This has been a challenge, but a lot of fun. So let me clean up, and then we'll get it lit and make it a little more beautiful. Once in a while, you come across a subject matter that really interests you or excites you, and that's what happened with the Kraken. I saw it on Christoph's site, Golden Armor, and I thought, this is something I want to have. Now, it is only available there as STL files. There is a gentleman who I have his name, and he is printing one of these for me right now for a friend. I want to wait and see how that all comes out, and then I want to talk to him about pricing and how that is. So I'm not going to, unfortunately, be able to give you that information now in terms of ordering prints. But what I would say to you is if you want these files, go ahead and buy the file from Christoph. He'll send them to you, and then down the road, and I'm not talking a long time here, maybe in the next few videos, if I am able to give you an update or put an update video out about how you can order a print of the files for yourself, I certainly will. Now, there is also another way to go. My good friends over at 3D Fig Lab, 3D Fig, F-I-G-L-A-B, at gmail.com. Send them an email. If you order from them before the end of, I think it's up to the 31st of January, you can get 10% off. Just Spruverse, all in caps. Let them know, Spruverse, in all in caps, and they'll give you 10% discount off of your files. Now, they have a Kraken, and it's a smaller version than this. I don't know about too much of the details inside. I've not printed it, and I've not done it, but I assure you the quality of their work is extraordinary, and having actually printed and made their land speeder, as you know, I'm very impressed, not only with them as people, but also with the quality of their work. So if you want a smaller version of this and you do have access to a printer, this will go, their version will go on a much smaller build plate than this one. This is studio scale. And so I know that it is available from another source if you don't want to go the Christoph way. Now, certainly you could reduce the files, Christoph's files, but I think it would be a mistake, given the fact that the computer panels and everything like this, they look so beautiful in this scale. They were designed for this scale. If you shrink them, I worry that you would lose a whole lot of detail. But there are options for you. And of course, the 3D Fig Lab team were kind enough to make a base for me, which is here. We're sitting on it. And I've not printed the top yet, but they also made me a transformer box. So this model is completely mobile. I can turn it off and on, and I can actually remove it from its base. It's not pinned down. It's not. Whoa! It's not pinned down. So it's one of those things where you can. You can have it on a base or not have it on a base. I mean, the scale of this is ridiculous. Now, the smaller scale base obviously will have the centrifuge back. It's got all the lovely details to it. You can put gold foil on the inside, and you'd have a perfect scale replica of the set from this, and it would be a beautiful way to display it. And they're now offering these boxes. I don't have a lid on this, so I apologize to my friends at 3D. It's printing. But these are fantastic. And you don't have to necessarily just use them for this. They would work for any of your kits. If you want to go to a show and you can't plug in, this is the way to go. Because all we do is we just switch it on, and we're good to go. It's on, and if you want to unplug it, you can. So it's it's really something, and I'm super happy with the fact that I was able to keep this this hatch. Because what the hatch does, it does allow you to look inside and see all the lights that are on, and that just makes it makes your work. You feel a lot better about your work, right? Because ultimately, at the end of the day, that's what it's about. It's about people being able to enjoy your work and see all the fruits of your labor. So I could not be happier with that. And so what I want to do now quickly is I want to just quickly run a video for you so you can see this whole thing in all of its glory, because I think this is how I'm going to show my models from now on. I'm not just going to stick them on the bench and put them on a turntable and say goodbye. I'm going to try and do something to really show off the artistry and to really be proud of what I've accomplished here. It's about 1:14. Let's take a look at it. And while we're looking at this, I can sort of just talk a little bit. So again, really happy with how it all turned out. The Dennis Quaid figure is a terrific figure. If you're more skilled than I am at face painting, you'll do a far better job. You can see all of the fiber optic opportunities that were in the ship. I chose to just leave everything on solid because in the film there was not a lot of blinkies and flashes, so I thought why spend, why put a flasher in here? Now you certainly could, just to give it even more animation, but I didn't find it necessary. The fit on this thing was absolutely extraordinary, and the detail with all of these parts is just wonderful. I added additional hoses to everything and a few little stickers like no step and a couple of lithium-ion battery stickers and things of that nature. But for the most part, it is as it was printed, and it is absolutely it's an absolute gem, and I could not be happier with the results. And a big thank you to my friends at 3D Fig Lab. They went out of their way to try to come up with a base, and the centrifuge, unfortunately, it would have just made this thing too large. I couldn't get it on my printer. I have a 15-inch build plate, so we abandoned it. But oh, are they awesome? They're just absolutely awesome. And again, you know, these little battery boxes are going to be fantastic. I mean, this one, it's plugged in with just a 2-pin connector that you can get from Evans Design, but all the cabling holes are built into here, and even a switch, an opening for the switch. The switches fit absolutely beautifully in there, so that is amazing, and you've got plenty of opportunity here to run your cables in. It's a lovely box. I just didn't have time to print the lid. But it all goes in here, and it's, come on, I mean, that's fantastic, and that's all available to you on their site. So drop them a line, 3dfiglab@gmail. They're great guys. They'll be happy to work with you. And I've Christoph at Golden Armor for an incredible, just an absolutely incredibly detailed kit. I'm so thrilled to have this in my collection. And I really appreciate everybody coming along on the ride for this one. If you want to send me a note, I'm spruverse@gmail.com. I post most days on my Instagram account, which is Spruverse. And if you like the content, please don't forget to like and subscribe. Very important you give me a thumbs up, guys. It really helps the ego. And it's nice to know that the content's getting enjoyed and appreciated. Okay, so we're going to be back. My next model up, I'm very excited about. Kind of small little thing, but I think we're going to go back to cosmic scale models. The good and awesome Keith Tomlinson has sent me some goodies, so we're going to build something from cosmic scale models, I think, next. But as always, please, I wish all of you be safe, be well. Build something. Come on, let's build something. And I'll see you next time. Take care, everybody. Be well.